Hi, it's Salima with Two Generations Investing, coming back at you with part two in my three-part series on writing. Today's topic is going to be three writing tips that you may or may not know. For those who don't know, going to be some valuable information from you. So we'll start with tip number one. Tip number one is super basic. It's know your topic. Before you start writing any paper, you want to make sure you're crystal clear on why you're writing the paper so you don't spend a lot of wasted time writing about something that's not what the person asked you to write about. Um, Excuse me. I know one time I was writing a paper. I thought, I got my start like I did, and I always schedule time to go in and speak with my professor about make sure I'm on topic. So I went in with my 5-page paper, started writing. I was super excited because I felt like I was on track, if not ahead of time. So I went in with my paper. He read it, and he was like, Salima, this is a really good paper. The only problem is this is not what I asked you to write about. Not only was I irritated with myself that I wasted a week writing this paper, but I was also very irritated I had to start all the way over to actually write about the correct topic. And had I asked some questions or read the directions more clearly, I wouldn't have wasted a week. So just something super basic. Just know your topic to save yourself a lot of time and heartache. Second one is know your format, meaning should it be written in first person or third person? Should it be AP style? What's the font they want you to use? Times New Roman, Arial. What's the font size? Usually it's between 12 and 14. Do they want single or double spaced? Things of that nature. If they don't tell you this already up front, you should definitely ask before you start writing and well before you turn in your paper. You don't want to miss those easy points by just, putting whatever you want it to be on there, and then they tell you, oh, it should have been double space, and I actually want this and that. Because I've had professors who are very, very strict about what they want. It has to be Times New Roman size 12, and they can clearly see if you've done 10 or 14. So you don't miss those easy points. So just make sure you reach out if they don't already give you that information ahead of time to make sure that you give them exactly what they're looking for in terms of formatting your paper. The third tip is something I really do from day one when I start writing my paper. That is proofread, proofread, proofread. I proofread my paper from the beginning to the end. Once I start writing, I proofread every day that section and the previous section as I start writing. So on day one, if I wrote 2 pages, I proofread those 2 pages. So on day four, if I write 2 more pages, I go back and proofread those 4 pages. So by the time I've reached the end of my paper, I know that paper like the back of my hand. Any criticism or feedback somebody gives me, I know exactly where in the paper they're talking about because I have read that paper so much. You never want to be caught off guard and somebody tells you, well, this section here, and you have to physically look at your paper to find out what section they're talking about. That tells them you haven't been proofreading your paper. You expect for somebody else to do it. And there's nothing wrong with getting feedback from your teacher or professor about your paper, but you should be the first proofreader of your paper. Nobody else should do that for you. So learn how to proofread your paper. You can get tips from your English professor, or maybe have a AP style format book. I'm not sure if they still make those, whether it's digital or hard copy, but I know I had one when I was in school that really helped me with my proofreading. And also, too, another great tip on proofreading: have somebody that totally has no idea what you're writing about read your paper. Whether it's one of your parents, your siblings, a good friend, who has never seen your paper, they have no idea what the topic is. Just let them read it. They can give you all kind of great tips about the flow of the paper, the direction, whether they feel like you kind of went off into left field on page 3, things like that. So it's always good to get that fresh pair of eyes on something, somebody that's not emotionally connected to the paper, because let's be honest, when you write it, you do get a small emotional attachment where you don't want to hear feedback from people that may not be positive. So by having that third person look at it who has no ties to it at all, that will give you valuable feedback and help you get on your way. So That's all the tips I have for today. Know your topic, know your format, and proofread, proofread, proofread. This is Salima with Two Generations Investing. Out.